Hey guys, and happy summer. With school wrapped up for the time being, now is a good time to finish my Chaos 100 grind and share my current up-to-date Clawbringer melee build. This build is a partial DLC build, meaning you must own at least Glutton's Gamble and Molten Mirrors DLC to get the most out of it. There is enough gear provided for a vanilla gear setup, if that is what you would prefer. I've stress tested this build for a week or so in Chaos Chamber 100, all elite difficulty modifiers, no queen buffs, and only Dragon Lord debuffs when possible to maximize chaos crystals per run. I would describe this build as an endgame Clawbringer build specializing in exclusively melee damage, with damage high enough to complete extended runs in under 20 minutes, and HP and shields high enough to avoid the dreaded one-shotting SOCOM in Chaos Chamber 100. The footage you see in this video is during my elite mode stress testing of an extended chaos run, all elite rooms, no queen buffs, and every Dragon Lord debuff when plausible, and on intense difficulty. For guns, we are still using a slapping Livewire, as the AoE melee damage is great for dealing with mobs of enemies. Livewire is lightning damage and will proc our first half of off for higher crit chance. In my mileage, Livewire has always outperformed other melee enhancing guns, even if on paper they may have higher single target DPS. Livewire will also be very useful for death saves, since we can focus one target while damaging all other enemies around them. In addition to the Livewire, we are also using the slapping Stab-O-Matic for situations when up-close melee damage is not viable, such as Bernadette on Dragon Lord or DLC boss fights. We also have in our pocket the Tootherator for bonus melee damage debuff, and a Vengeance for the same concept, but in my experience the debuff does not last long enough to justify using a strict rotation with, and so they are there if you would like to experiment with high burst damage windows. For melee, we are using a flame damage Sultan Battery Vampire with Snowballing Enchantment. Though I really like the Fatebreaker, the Sultan Battery provides 200% critical hit damage, and it synergizes very well with Clawbringer. Our lightning damage from Livewire will up our critical hit chance faster, meaning more red text procs, and since we are dealing flame damage every swing, we are getting the other half of Awe benefit for bonus crit damage on top of the base 200%. While holding a Livewire and using Sultan Battery, we have nearly 100% Awe uptime for both crit chance and crit damage. Out of hundreds, if not thousands of melee weapons I have looted in my climb 2 and after Chaos 100, this weapon has outperformed nearly all of them. Getting it was the tipping point that made me feel the build was ready to be published for Chaos 100. With the Vampire trait, we trade some damage for better survivability. With a high HP and ward pool, Vampire is very important and effective in sustaining incoming damage on Chaos 100. For shields, we are using a Vibing Hammer and Anvil. This shield roll comes with a high ward capacity, which in turn provides us with more health, since we are using Unarmored Defense in Berserker Tree. We go with Vibing for higher crit damage, and with the Vampire melee and HP regeneration skill, it is simple to stay at and near full health to get the most out of this enchantment. Since we are using Vampire, we also restore ward. So each time we take damage at max ward, we proc a hammer, which in turn does melee damage and can crit. While there may be other shields worth your time, I personally feel the Anvil has the best balance between consistent damage and survivability, making it a perfect candidate for Chaos 100. For spells, we are still using a lightning damage Knuckle Buffmeister with bonus melee and ability damage. I have experimented with other spells such as Smithy's Ire and the Tidebreaker, but I find Smithy's Ire damage too low for Chaos 100, and Tidebreaker's Soak debuff means less flame damage, which is not ideal. With Knuckled, we double dip into melee damage bonuses since our lightning damage comes from melee Livewire procs. I also like the movement speed buff, and with the campaign bonus spell cooldown reduction, our uptime is fine. For jewelry, we are running a Sharkolescent ring with bonus melee crit damage. Shout out to Ancient Rune who provided a save file for the Sharkolescent ring. Sharkolescent is perfect for min-maxing melee damage, and the added random elemental bonus rotation is great for mixing up our damage, or boosting our lightning or fire damage. In addition, we are using a shell casing melee ring for bonus melee damage and melee crit damage. This bonus increases by 66% when we keep our Livewire low on ammo. Since we are doing melee damage, we just keep the Livewire low on ammo all the time without reloading, and it works well. For Amulet, we are using an overflowing blood bag. Not because of the red text, that is rather useless, though an extra 1000 to 3000 HP is nice, you don't really deal dark damage to proc it. We are using the Blood Bag for the 30% all damage done roll, which boosts our melee damage as well. When using Stab-O-Matic, we switch to the Universal Soldier for an infinite magazine reloadless damage output, which is helpful situationally for long-range melee fights, where you will see in certain bosses or DLC. Note we lose some damage since the Universal Soldier is a gun damage roll, but the time to reload is such a DPS loss in these ranged moments that I think it's still worth it. For class mod, we are using a Tyrant's Truth with bonuses to Clawbringer, Berserker, bonus melee damage on the red text roll, and bonus melee damage on the roll. Clawbringer uses a Dragon Companion, and Tyrant will despawn this dragon for bonus melee damage. This companion, in my opinion, is low damage, and the AI isn't good enough to react quickly situationally. For a melee damage build, I think it's very worth it trading it for a bonus flat 35% extra damage. We could be greedy and pick a different subclass for another 35% melee damage, but then we lose many good and useful survival tools from the Berserker tree, so it's ultimately up to you. Though we could get a roll with melee damage done hypothetically, it has taken me tens of hours just to get a Tyrant's Truth this viable, and I personally like the bonus movement speed for Chaos Chamber runs to get to the portal and loot as quickly as possible. It's preference at the end of the day, but movement speed means faster time and easier side objectives such as Fire Spirits. For skills, this build uses Storm Dragon's Judgment as the active ability. Storm Dragon does solid single target damage, will quickly break loot dice to proceed in Chaos Chamber runs, and can proc Recalling Enchantment for even more bonus melee damage. First we pick up the bonus lightning damage to melee from Clawbringer tree and bonus melee damage from Berserker tree. For minor perks we pick anything that gives melee damage, damage reduction, max health, or health regeneration. After we pick up bonus ward capacity from Clawbringer tree, we synergize it with unarmored defense from the Berserker tree to convert our ward into extra health. Having our ward does not disable hammer and anvil procs. Next we prioritize picking up Undying Rage from the Berserker tree. Even though we are very tanky, we go down a lot in Chaos 100, and Undying Rage keeps us near immortal. Livewire will add to Undying Rage perk, and our damage output is so high we can survive for about half a minute to a full minute in Fight for Your Life as long as we keep dealing melee damage, and we rarely get caught in a death loop. Finally, we go back to the Clawbringer tree to pick up Awe for bonus crit chance and crit damage, putting our final points into Berserker melee attack speed. Our Tyrant's Truth gives us +1 Blast Chill, so if you'd like to run without our Tyrant, you'll have to respec or gear accordingly. Blast Chill post-nerfs is not essential in my opinion, but it still seemed to have made a positive difference in test runs. You can pick and choose skills as you see fit. I found these aforementioned skills essential for playing my desired melee pure style with survivability to avoid being one-shotted without counterplay. For areas of improvement, we could hypothetically have a stronger Tyrant's Truth with added all damage done, a stronger amulet with more relevant red text and bonus, and a better melee weapon enchantment, either recalling for 30% melee damage or escalating for 10% bonus damage per hit. We could also go with a stronger melee trait to trade survivability for more damage from something like Warrior. Our Stab-O-Matic could be ascended. Lastly, I think the Livewire could have additional crit damage on the roll. We have a Livewire with 10 and 20% crit damage, but they are not ascended or have the right enchantment yet. I am unsure if crit damage modifiers on Livewires even apply to the melee damage. Further testing is required. After finishing my extended elite run at around 16 minutes and 30 seconds, I felt like the build is at a point of performance where it is ready to be shared with other people. Now that our climb to Chaos 100 is over, there's not much else to do than make minor improvements such as these listed to take it to overpowered levels. We have a save file available. Head to twitch.tv/spacedragy and type !Dragonlord in the chat, and a message will pop up with a link to the Google Drive to download the save file for our build, if you'd like to quickly test it yourself. I apologize, but you will have to follow before sending a message. We've been harassed by bots for basically years with phishing links, and as a small streamer, Twitch does virtually nothing to protect us, so we must remain in follower-only mode. Following costs nothing, and is totally free, but you must own a Twitch account to follow and download the build save file. I'd like to again thank Ancient Rune for providing the Ascended Shark Ring with bonus melee crit. Finding one Shark Ring is torture, and I'd rather go to the DMV for a week straight than try to grind out a Shark Ring with the right rolls. We do have older Shark Rings if you think of yourself as a purist who will not use any gear that may possibly have been duped or created in an item editor program. All other gear was obtained live on stream. I'd also like to thank you for watching and giving your time today to check out this content. If you like what you see, consider remaining followed to the Twitch channel or subscribing to both YouTube or Twitch. Your paid Twitch subscription allows me to continue this side hustle to create future Wonderlands and general content, as I am participating in part-time paid research this summer with UT Austin. It has been a very fun journey playing Wonderlands, and expect one more video to celebrate reaching Chaos 100 and saying goodbye to our Chaos Chamber routine with a boss montage. Have a wonderful summer, stay hydrated, and take care of yourselves. What I got? Nice, I'll take that. I will take that for sure. That's good footage.